Today is about productivity because the amount of people that I've had message me talk about their levels of productivity and how much they actually get done in a day, it fucking scares me because most content agency owners aren't putting the amount of focus in the right areas. Every time I ask someone what you work on a day-to-day, it isn't the right things you should be working on. In this video, we're gonna break down exactly what you should be focusing on, why you actually need to get off the tools to be able to make so much more money with your business. And I'm just gonna run you through the exact day by day that I want you to follow in order to actually maximize every single thing you do to ultimately maximize profit and reduce the amount of hours you work in a single day. Because I don't wanna see you work 12 hours a day. I don't wanna see you go home, go to a shoot, come home, edit, and just go through that continuous cycle. You are so consumed by thinking that you working more hours behind the camera, you doing more edits is actually making you more money, but it's not. You don't understand that the more hours that you're putting in behind the camera is actually reducing how much you're making. This is the exact problem that I was facing. You think working harder will make you more money. So you double the volume, you double the sales, right? If you put more work in, you double the sales, you make more money. But you end up building a business you hate and that relies on that much work. It relies on the amount of work when you're doubling the volume. So if you're already working 8 hours a day and you double it, 16, even like 12 hours a day, you may be making more on the surface level. You may be making, 15, 20K a month. But at the end of the day, you're not building a business that is actually sustainable. You're just trapped because the camera is your cage. And so that was me. In 2022, this was my exact situation. I was feeling extremely lost. I was working 12-hour days and I was only making $6,000 a month. And I was fucking stuck. The reason why I was stuck is because this was keeping me stuck. I couldn't take a day off. Every weekend I was fully trapped. I was fully booked. And the thing is, I thought this was good. I thought this is exactly what I wanted. But it was that realization that when I looked back and started to think, why did I actually start this business in the first place? It was never to be booked all weekend doing shoots. It was to be able to spend more time with my family, to be able to travel with my friends and do amazing things and actually create memories that I will remember for a very long time. And I simply couldn't do that because I had a booking. I had a shoot that I needed to be at. And so I don't want to see you in that loop. And so I was stuck in what you call the hamster wheel, the camera hamster wheel. And so to sustain that amount of revenue, you have to keep working those long hours. I was going Monday to honestly like Saturday, shoot in the morning, shoot in the afternoon. That will go to the evening. I'd come home, I'd edit. I'd wake up again in the morning. I'd edit in the morning till my next shoot the next day. It was just this constant hamster wheel and it was just burning me out. Like genuinely, I couldn't keep up with it until I switched the model, until I switched how I actually interpreted and viewed what I was selling. And so we need to actually look at this strategically because we need to look at a workflow that works for a founder. Because right now you are operating as an operator. You are a camera operator. But you're not operating as someone who runs a business. You currently aren't a business owner. You may have a small team. Maybe you've got an editor on board. Maybe you've got one part-time shooter. But at the end of the day, the work still has to all go through you. Every single little message, every single little tweak that the business makes, it goes directly through you. Therefore, you are not a business owner. You are just a high-paid operator at the end of the day. This is the daily workflow that I want you to adapt. You are not a videographer or an operator. Forget that. You need to remove the word videographer from your vocabulary. I don't want to see you doing shoots because you need to understand that you actually being on site doing the shoot is one of the lowest leverage activities you can do when you are starting to scale. When you are scaling to 20, 30K a month, you need to start to understand that you need to have someone on board to either do the shoots for you or change the model. So this is where there's two different models when it actually comes to a content agency. There is a done for you model and a done with you model. And the way I see this is when you're running a done for you model, think about a content system. You are capturing everything when it comes to the filming, the editing, the actual back-end system behind what you're growing for your clients' businesses. That is the mindset that you're adapting with a done for you model. But with a done with you model, you are solely selling the content system. Therefore, that means that you are not the one who is filming the video, your client is filming. And you are consulting them on how to actually film the video, and you take care of the rest. That is done with you. Done for you is where you actually go and also do the shoot yourself. Obviously, there is more money involved with a done for you model, but done with you really allows you to work from wherever you want, and you can seriously live a life where you can work with clients all around the world and not have to physically be there on site to capture the content. So there's two different models. Obviously, there is a little bit more money in one, but also you can scale a done with you model a whole lot easier simply because you can do it from anywhere in the world. This is what we understand. We either have manager days and we have leader days. There are 2 days where we get the most amount of work done. And so one day is a little bit different from the other, but the way I see this is a videographer will spend every day filming, editing, maybe back and forth with the team a little bit, doing some admin work. It's a mess. And you have nothing structured simply because you can't. And so let's go through the manager model. On the manager days, your time is currency. You're talking to different people, maybe you're on sales calls, maybe you're back and forth with a team. The goal of this day is to use up all your slots in the day so you maximize your time. So I want at least from 9 till 5, if you're working an 8-hour day, let's say, every single hour of that day needs to be full. And what I mean by that is either hopping on sales calls, talking to the team, maybe back and forth with the editors. Like every hour of the day is just constant communication, getting things done. You're working in the business. And like I said down here, a busy day is a great day on a manager day. Now, as a leader day, this is where we're actually moving the needle forward. And so we need to have that balance at the same time because we are still constantly scaling every single day. And so there always is going to be times where we are working in the business. We can't just simply remove ourselves from the business straight away. So on a leader day, this is the highest ROI for entrepreneurs because we are in deep work and it's not urgent work, but this is incredibly important. You're driving the call forward in the long term. Meeting in the middle of a 4-hour work block kills momentum. So the reason why I put that down there is because we don't want to have any meetings on leader days. So I want to run you through the exact workflow of an actual day today that I follow. But the difference between a leader day and a manager day is a leader day, we may be working on content ideation, because we are working on client acquisition to get more clients. Manager day, we're back and forth with the team, making sure everything's moving and just constantly making sure that everything is in check. That is the difference. So, Jack, what's that look like? How do we structure my week to make the most out of my manager days and make the most of my leader days? All right, let me show you. So the red is the manager days and the blue is the leader days. Now let me run you through a manager day first. This is an honest day to day of everything that I go through. I will wake up at 6 o'clock. I'll meditate for 10 minutes. I'll go to the gym and I'll have a light breakfast. This is from 6 to 9. I love to just have that 3-hour time block of making sure everything is done in the morning. I'm refreshed. I've got my workout in and I'm feeling good. The first thing we do is deep work for 2 hours on content. Now I want to understand industry trends. I want to do some ideating and scripting, even create Instagram and YouTube scripts. Now from 12 to 12:30, we're handling 5 to 15 minutes. We're checking book calls and updates from the sales team if you have one, checking updates from your editors, whether that may be. And then we're filming looms for clients. We're answering questions. That's what we want to do here. I love to do this just in that 30-minute time block because we always want a time block. I usually have lunch from around 12:30 to 1. Then after lunch, I like to just read for a little bit, make sure I step away from the work. I don't know if you guys know what the Pomodoro technique is, but it is very important to follow that. If you guys don't have a structure, search it up. It basically works where you're working for 45 minutes on and then you're 15 minutes off. There's different ways that people do it, but I found that structure actually works pretty well for me. And then you do that exact same thing, 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off, and you basically do it until the task's done. But I always want to make sure that I have a time limit set because otherwise you're just going to drag it on for the whole day. From 1:30 all the way onwards, I will just have calls stacked with clients. This is just client fulfillment time now. Calls stacked back to back. 2:15 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. And then after 7, all my calls are done. If my last call finishes at 6, then I have dinner and I chill. That's it. I might go read a book again. I might watch some YouTube videos, just learning a little bit more about AI, because I'm really interested in learning more about that space at the moment and really being able to move our clients' businesses forward as well. So that is a day-to-day for a manager day. I spend the morning just trying to move the needle forward, and then in the afternoon, it is just solely fulfillment or hopping on sales calls and whatnot. That is a manager day. Now, what does a leader day look like? I wake up, I meditate, I gym, light breakfast. That's my structure for the morning. Maybe you want to wake up and just get straight to work. Whatever works better for you. That's just what I've found is the most optimal for me. I know a lot of people who wake up and just want to work for the first 4 hours and get as much done as possible. But I prefer to just wake up, just wake up slowly. I mean, I still honestly get to the gym in the first 30 minutes of me waking up, but that's not the point. Whatever works for you, that's the whole purpose of this. So on a leader day, from 9 till 12, once again, I'm doing deep work in the morning. Every morning, I'm always just in deep work, simply because I just need to protect my mornings. No one has my energy from 9 till 12. I have do not disturb on, and my whole team knows to not contact me in this time. And if they do, I'm not gonna respond. Okay, then from 12 to 12:30, I'm handling fires. I'm just making sure I'm contacting the team back and forth. I just try and get some little errands done here, some admin work, just to get some small little updates in. If I need to film any looms, if I need to check any book calls that came in, very simple. Now, once again, lunch, I do some reading. Then from 1:30 to 7, this is where I just continually work on my deep work. So I will work on the A+ problem that my business is facing at that time. Now I have my deep work block 2 and 3 from 2 to 4 and then 4:30 to 6:30. So I look at what is the falling KPI that is slowing down the business. So you really need to understand where your business is struggling honestly in every single day. Where the biggest bottleneck is, that is your A+ problem. And if you don't actually know what your A+ problem is, then that is a problem in itself. If you're struggling to get leads, well then there you go. Your problem is lead flow. Your A+ problem is lead flow. So to identify your A+ problem, you basically need to figure out where do you feel like your income and your revenue is capped, and then you need to solve that bottleneck. So if you have too many clients onboarded right now and you're absolutely just struggling in fulfillment, maybe that means you need to get a hire. Maybe you need to hire an editor. That's really how you identify your A+ problem. So once again, I'll work on my A+ problem from all afternoon onwards, and then I'll have dinner and chill. Every day, I'm basically working on content in the morning, because content is the biggest needle mover for any business. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I don't care, even if it's not related to content and it's not in the content industry, it is still the most needle moving activity, simply because that is where you can get clients on autopilot. Client acquisition should be your main focus every single day, at least for a minimum of 2 hours. That is a non-negotiable for us. I wanna really show you the difference between my manager days and my founder days. So you can probably already spot where my manager days are, but here, Tuesdays are my manager days. And honestly, this week was pretty chill because I didn't have too many calls. So I put all my calls back to back on Tuesday. Call there. Every single one was back to back until I was eating dinner. And so you can probably tell that every single thing in here is systemized, and I have a very structured routine if you can't tell already. For example, let's look at the calls to start off with. The reason why you want to make sure they're back to back is because when they're not, I don't get anything done. I'm just going to be frank, even from lunch to 3, in that 1 hour time block, I'm probably not getting a lot done, because how can you lock in for an hour? Personally, I can't get anything. I can't get true work done in an hour. And so what makes this even worse is when people have a call up here, then they have a call here, then they got a call there. And it's every single one of these gaps they have, they don't get anything done. So the whole day is full, but you've only hopped on calls. And so at least what I can do is I can back all my calls, just absolute back to back. I can still get some deep work done in the morning. I can still work on short form content and ideation. I can still build out my deliverable sheet. And then I can eat lunch, and then I can hop on calls for the rest of the afternoon. And the reason why I prefer to have calls in the afternoon is simply because I don't feel that I need to have them in the morning. And I also know that in the afternoon, I've still got energy to hop on calls. Versus in the morning, it is just solely deep work. Your whole morning, personally, for me, deep work in the morning is a non-negotiable. That's where I just know I get the most done. But once again, you want to make sure that you're doing what's best for you. Maybe you are more of a night person. So maybe you work best at night. So maybe you want to hop on your calls in the morning. Once again, it depends what works best for you. Then every other day of the week was a leader day for me. So Monday, leader day, I was generating ads. I was talking with the content team. I was working on my Instagram reels and my story sequences. Then Wednesday, I was working with my editing team, going back and forth. Then I was doing some more deep work. Once again, deep work here, deep work here. And you can see every morning is all content. Whether that's scripting, filming, editing ads. That's how a week should look like. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated, and it shouldn't be shoot, edit, shoot, edit. It doesn't need to be like that. Please don't structure your week like that. Even if you are still shooting, what I would suggest is if you have specific days where you can book in your shoots back to back. Because even if you have shoot Monday, shoot Tuesday, shoot Wednesday, there's still going to be a specific part in the day where you have to take time off to go to the shoot. So if you are shooting and you can't get out of that, then what I want you to do is try and back your shoots on certain days and have your shoots all on those manager days. That's how I want you to structure it. If you feel lost with your calendar structure right now, come back to what I built here in my week. Because this is something that you should be following, and this is what your calendar should look like. Jack, how do we gain more leverage? And so what I mean by this is, how do we get more output for less output? Let's identify these two Jacks, all right? There's a Jack on the left, the 15K a month videographer focusing on doing more. So maybe that's you right now. Maybe that's how you feel. You feel like you're focusing on just constantly doing shoots, constantly trying to push out more edits, but you feel stuck. And then there's the 50K a month business owner who focuses on doing less, because sometimes less is more. And so how do we identify this? Well, the guy on the left, the Jack on the left, the guy who is making 15K a month, he's working 10-hour days. He's on sales calls, content ideation, scripting, filming, editing, posting for his clients, for himself. He thinks being busy equals being productive, but the results at the end of the month don't reflect his work. Now there's the 50K a month business owner. He focuses on building systems, managing the sales reps, managing the editing team, learning from others, and marketing his offer. That is what you should be focusing on as a founder and as a business owner. So I want you to start auditing your day to day. Like, are you seriously putting in 2 to 3 hours of solely just client acquisition and posting organic content, of running ads? Are you doing that? Because if you're not, you're falling behind. Like, that is a bare minimum for a founder. And that is honestly the most needle moving activity that you can work on as a founder. The founder and the business owner doesn't do a lot, but he's extremely happy with the results at the end of the month, because he knows that pieces of content have moved the business forward. He knows that he's created assets that have compounded, YouTube videos that may have stacked up over time that have actually brought clients in the door. So that may only take 3-4 hours a day to film. Then he sends it off to his editing team. Then he spends the rest of the day hanging out with his family and really just enjoying time by himself. But that activity alone will actually generate the business more income than him shooting for 10 hours a day. Ask yourself, how do you get more output for less output? Now always come back to these two. Are you that 15K a month videographer who's just focusing on doing more? Or are you focusing on actually trying to do less? Try and always do less. Ask yourself, what are you doing tomorrow? And what can you remove yourself from? It better not be content. It better be shooting. Why does a 50K a month business owner work less but make more? It's because he works on high leveraged activities. He doesn't associate hours worked with his success. You'll always notice this. The business owners who actually work less are always like at networking events. I see this all the time. It doesn't actually look like they're working that hard, but it's because they're working smart. And I only realized this, honestly, about 6 to 12 months ago, that working smart will always beat working hard. Because if working hard was the answer, the sheep would be the richest person on the farm. Let me say that again. If working hard meant making more money, meant being at the top of the food chain, the sheep would be the richest in the farm. So think about that. Because when I heard that quote, that fucking hit me. You are your best employee, and you are the bottleneck in your own business right now. because you don't understand that the camera is your cage. And I'll always come back to this phrase because I'm a huge advocate for this simply because the camera was my cage. I was so stuck. I couldn't escape it. I actually didn't know the answer. But the answer was actually doing less, was becoming a founder, was working on those high leverage activities, was switching the model, was going from a done for you model to a done with you model to still allow me to travel and still allow me to go to places like Bali right now and still run my business simply because I can, because I have clients from all around the world. Would you want your best employee working 24/7 doing shoots? You probably wouldn't. This is the 80-20 principle. Which 20% of activities drive 80% of results? So I want you to understand that, like I was saying before, content is the biggest needle moving activity for any business owner. Say for example, you're going out to shoots, you're doing an edit that may require you to sit down for, the whole day. Maybe that's an 8-10 hour day. But the result of that is going to be 20%. Because really, how much revenue are you generating from doing an edit? You're not. Versus 20% of effort, you filming and me filming a YouTube video right now. That's honestly 20% of my effort. I had lunch before this. I was enjoying it. I was watching YouTube videos on AI. And the result that I can get from this is after this, I'll send this video off to my editor. Job's done. And I'll get 80% of the result, 80% of the result. Because this is a revenue generating activity that I'm doing. What are you good at that nobody else can do? And then focus on doing that and hiring people around you to do what can be outsourced. So look at the activities that you are actually working on right now. Maybe you are taking a ton of sales calls. Maybe you've got an abundance of leads. So maybe you need to hire someone to take the sales calls. Maybe you're editing 24/7 and you're still generating 10, 15K a month with your business. Then you really need to get an editor because you are not going to scale up. There is no way, there actually is physically no way that you will be able to do it. Maybe you could get to 20, maybe you could brute force your way to 30, but you're going to be working like 18-hour days. And I don't want to see you do that. Identify your unique genius zone and then compare it versus everything else. And then look at what you're actually good at that nobody else can do, and then outsource it. Understand that, and you're going to make sure that will move the needle so much fucking higher because you're actually working on the shit that matters. And this is the shit that actually lights me up because this is what I didn't understand, is that when I actually understood that I was best at filming content and even just putting together this video, like understanding that these ideas will help my clients, like that changed everything for me. Now here are your first 3 critical hires for scaling. You're getting an editor, you need to get a VA, and you need to get a hybrid shooter/editor if you're running a done for you model. Editor is the best hire you can make, anywhere from 10 to 15K. Once you're at 20 to 30, I'd suggest to get a VA. And even once you're at that 30K a month mark, I'd get a shooter. Once again, if you're running a done for you model. If you're running a done with you model and you're just solely focusing on the content system, for your clients, then you don't really need to worry about getting a hybrid shooter because you don't need to shoot. But yeah, the editors are just an absolute crucial hire. Like it is so important. And even just getting a VA to handle all the back end for you, because you're probably still spending a shit ton of time on admin, doing all that back end stuff, when in reality it does take a lot of time and it does not move the needle forward. Like it's really that straightforward. You want to build a business by design. So what do I actually mean like this? I didn't like doing sales calls. I actually fucking hated them. So lucky enough, I'm fortunate enough, should I say, to have a co-founder who takes all my sales calls, because he is way more knowledgeable in sales than I probably ever will be. But that's also very fortunate for me because I can work more on the marketing and the acquisition for the business, and he can work on all of the sales side of the business. And it really works very well, especially when you have a business partner. You need to make sure that you both have skills in different areas of the business. Otherwise, if you're both good at the same thing, then you don't really work well together. I didn't like having no location freedom, which I was trapped for the last 3 years with my business. So I offered done with you offers and I sold content systems. And this way I was able to generate 5K in a single day from not doing a shoot. This was all from selling a done with you offer. I want to build a business by design. And what that actually means to me is I want to make sure that I can build a business that doesn't control my life and build a business of freedom where you can actually Your business doesn't control you, but you almost control the business. I can still be in places all around the world, still work with clients and not have to stress about being at a shoot next Monday. That's the best part about running a Done With You offer. And so if you guys want to know a little bit more about how to actually make the pivot to a Done With You offer, it's on my YouTube channel, but I'll leave a link in the description because I want to make sure that you guys can make that pivot. And I'll link it at the end of the video as well. Now, I also didn't like chasing new clients. I fucking hated it. Like, yes, I still think it's extremely important to make sure that you're constantly upgrading your content, making sure you're still bringing in clients, but I didn't like chasing new clients. So what I did was build a monthly recurring revenue system, which was a 90-day system. Therefore, I got clients on the front end for 90 days and just got results for them in the first 3 months. Like, you want to get results as quick as possible for your clients. That is the game we're playing. But the point I'm getting at is when you can just offer a 90-day system on the front end, then on the back end, you can upsell them and just, that's where the money is made. We just want to scale into pleasure and freedom. That's why I started this business. I don't know about you. Maybe you genuinely enjoy filming videos, and that is okay because you can still scale. That is totally normal. Like, you can still build a team. I just didn't want to build a 10-person team and honestly be locations dependent to a certain city. I wanted to be able to travel, experience new cultures, and be in places that actually fuel me and light me up. Like recently, this was me hanging out in a, Jesus, this was like a $2 million villa. Like, and in Bali, that's like crazy. And we were there with like 30 different founders. I was networking, I was meeting people who were making $1 million a month. That's the life I want to live. Like, that's the shit that genuinely lights me up because I get so much fuel from being around those sort of people. And I also learn so much more when you're traveling and meeting people from all around the world rather than just meeting people in the city you're from. And so even this was me recently, hanging out with all my clients and just enjoying the freedom that I was able to build. That's why we started this business. So I want to do exactly what I wanted. And I want you to do exactly what you want. Hanging out with cool people, riding dirt bikes on a beach, like that is a life I built. And that's the life I want you to build by simply understanding that you don't need to be behind the camera 24/7. And I feel for you because I have been in your shoes. And I want to make sure you get out of that trap. I really do. I want you to understand that less is more in the game we're playing. You don't need to be behind the camera 24/7. And the sooner you realize that you need to make some switches in your business, maybe switch to a Done With You model like I was saying, whatever that switch may be, you need to make that in order to be able to travel, spend more time with your family, whatever freedom means to you. Because that is why we built this business and that is what I want to help you do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I really want you to make sure that you get the most out of this because I want to see you win. I genuinely want to see you win. So I really hope you enjoyed and I will see you guys in the next video.